what the Church of Scientology is so afraid of.
This is SPTV.
Welcome everyone for more SPTV. We're doing a live Q&A with Serge Del Mar. Serge, a fan favorite on this channel. I got to tell you, I mean, every time we do a video together, the comments are like, where have you been hiding this guy? I'm like, yeah, I'm not hiding him. What's going on? He's been here the whole time. So anyway, Serge's channel is getting kickstarted. I think you broke, what do you, like 12 or 1300 subscribers right now, something around there.
Yeah, 1200.
He's at 400 watch hours. We need to get him to over 4,000 watch hours. So I said, hey, have you done a live Q&A yet? Let's do a live Q&A. It's a great way to interact with viewers. And it's a great way to get comfortable talking about these things, you know, live. I mean, it's just no better way to do it, in my opinion. So we did it a little bit last minute. And so thank you, everyone, for joining us. Sorry, Goldie, for not giving you more advance notice. I am later this evening also planning on doing a live Q&A with Mitch Brisker. Last week, I said, hey, the next time I interview Mitch, I did a post in my community tab. Let me know some questions that you guys would want us to discuss. So we have a whole ton of questions already preloaded. So that'll be fun. So let's see, guys, my suggestion for those of you in the live chat, if you're going to put a question in the live chat, start it by saying question in all caps. That way, as I scroll through it, it catches the eye. It's very easy. It helps us help you. So Serge, how's it been going the last week or two? Have you been, has it been hard diving back into talking about all these subjects? I know you sort of stepped away from it for a while. So what's your experience been?
I mean, to be honest, Darren, it always is difficult to, it's almost like we're diving into the matrix here when we come up, because we had a front row seat at all this trauma that we're trying to decompress for everyone. So it is challenging, but it's so needed. And we are the voice. We have the voice today we wish we could have had when we were stuck. So, you know, growth is painful. And, you know, we're here growing, learning each day, and hopefully, you know, getting everyone to understand what's going on.
Yeah. Well, you're doing a great job so far. I mean, everyone's really been doing a great job. I mean, Laura FM's channel, Vanessa and Alicia over on Degraded Daughters of Dianetics. What are one of the other channels that Apostate Alex, Kelly Copter, who am I missing? Janice Grady and Mark Fisher,
And
Nora Ames, and Jackson Moorhead, so many. The fact that there's so many is why on the Monday night live stream, I've been trying to bring 3 new people on every week who've never been on before. Because I figured it would be a good way to just sort of introduce everyone to as many people as possible. And, you know, encourage people to subscribe to each one of these channels. So, and by the way, speaking of which, if you're not already subscribed to Serge, I probably still have the banner here that I created from the last time we chatted. Let me find it. Oh my God. Here we go. Subscribe to Serge on YouTube at Serge Del Mar, at Serge Del Mar. Okay. So we do have some comments in the queue here. Denver Stevo says, my question is, hi, Serge.
what up?
Denver Stevo cheating again. Okay. Folly Beach USA question. Should we all switch to Serge's feed for this to give him more hours, or does he get credit by doing it with you? You know what you guys might want to do is open up a second tab, second Chrome browser, Safari browser, whatever you're using. And you can just open both channels at the same time. Say, we're trying to help Serge, cross the threshold for monetization. So you can watch on his channel, but you can't do any super chats or super stickers on his channel. That's why we're trying to get him to the 4,000 hours, you know, because that's, I mean, that's like, it's the first hurdle to clear. as a content creator is meeting those. I don't know. YouTube just arbitrarily picked those thresholds.
To clear, Aaron, really? We have to go clear again?
Too clear. Well, again, I mean, last lifetime, this lifetime, next lifetime, it's all good. So yeah, no, but to answer your question, he does not automatically get credit if you're just watching on my channel. So you can either switch to his, or you can have two browsers open at the same time. You're going to want to mute the other browser, the other window. But there you go. Let's see. I can't read this. Gnome Sane. Is that a promo shirt for a horror movie called The Water?
It's not. It's a Japanese t-shirt. And
what about that t-shirt is Japanese?
It was made in Japan, and it was done with this like that process where they actually imprint them. Yeah, it's a Japanese t-shirt, Aaron.
How do we know it was made in Japan?
Well, how do we know? How do we know?
Did you buy it while you were in Japan? Or does it say made in Japan?
By a Japanese designer.
Oh, okay.
And I mean, I figured it says made in Japan, so hopefully it was made in Japan, and hopefully not by child slave labor. Shout out to that industry too.
shout out to that industry. Let me see. There are other questions in the queue. I'm just going through trying to find some others. Okay, I guess I can search while we're answering. Okay, SPTV Tattoo Warrior. Serge, SPTV Tattoo Warrior is someone who actually got that tattoo of SPTV. Do you see in the thumbnail photo there?
Yes, I see it.
That's legit. I have video of her getting that tattoo. It's incredible. Okay, so she asks, what are we in the business of? Noisy investigations. Welcome to SPTV's vision of OSA, which smells like poo, baby Davy. That is amazing. Yeah, I guess this is our own little version of doing a noisy investigation into Scientology, right?
I really think so, Aaron. I mean, look, somebody asked me the other day where, you were there for so long, Serge. There must have been something that you learned out of that experience. There must have been something positive. And I thought about it for a while. And then I was like, well, you know what? There is something positive that I just figured out, which is, when you spend nearly a decade of your formative years interrogating people for a living, there are certain abilities that you're able to get out of that. You're able to understand how to pull strings, for example, which in Scientology, what that meant was whenever something doesn't make sense, you really have to dig deeper in order to understand that. So I feel like when you did that training and when we are interrogating and getting all this information and, for all intents and purposes, deposing all these people in front of us with this machine, there's a part of our brain that is able to spot so fast what is wrong with the picture. I feel like you have that too, Aaron. It's like we were always looking for, this doesn't make sense. And we were trained to also it's weird because it's like we were trained to see things and call them out with integrity, yet everyone in the hotel had no integrity. It's such a dichotomy. Because it's something, but we were all just so concerned with the L. Ron Hubbard stuff that's where anybody's attention ever went.
Yeah.
So I think that's something we learned, and it is a noisy investigation.
It's funny to think about, what you just said, sort of being taught the importance of having an integrity in an environment where nobody has integrity. It's such an amazing contradiction, and it's so true. It is so instilled. It was so instilled in us as kids in that environment that these certain things were so important, while no one really had enough freedom of thought to look around and accept the fact that the things they were being told and taught were important were lacking in every part of the organization. It is weird, right?
Well, because it is all just a whole perpetuation of gaslighting, right? It's all a play on words when you really think about it. Again, going back to, a session wasn't a session. E-meter wasn't an E-meter. A floating needle didn't mean anything. A clear isn't anything. Like everything was invented and everything was just a facade of distractions. And it kept our minds entertained because the concepts were real, right? Like a clear was a clear. We all knew. No one outside the hotel knew, but we knew, or we thought we knew. We were certain we knew, or the book said it, or so it's like just like all these smoke and mirrors. And it's so insidious because it's all just gaslighting. Like one thing kind of like they were all carefully put onto the subject to that end user. And before you knew it, you couldn't see outside that because language was in your head, interrupting your critical thinking skills every time you thought, oh, I'm critical of that. Oh, I have a misunderstood. Or, oh no, I must have a withhold. Like always something wrong with you, source it out of yourself. And yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. Let's tackle the next one here. Judy Cutter 1. Serge is so honest. Hotel hell is right. P.S. My first ever super chat ever in life. I follow tons, but Serge got my heart.
Yay,
That's
thank
awesome.
you.
Well, congratulations and thank you for your first ever super chat. That's awesome. Okay. Seneca is how I always say this. Seneca. Question: how did it feel to get to 1,000 subs so quickly after your channel was announced by Aaron? How did it feel, Serge?
Look, guys, I have to say, honestly, shout out to all of you because this community and YouTube has really taught me that there are people here that care about what happened and they are invested in our story and invested in finding the truth because everybody smells the rat. And the fact that, you know, people are connecting to the message of helping those kids that are there, like Aaron and I and Lara and Nora and all of our second generations, we're speaking all on behalf of every last child that's there today. I know that all of us have that degraded daughters. Like we all talk about this daily and it is part of our, it's not our responsibility because we didn't do anything to deserve this, but we are being that change we wanted to see. And we will need support. We need all the help we can get. I mean, we are up against this $1 billion network of crooked attorneys and people at hotels that are doing God knows what. So we need all the help they can get. And it feels so special. And I feel like confident that little by little, we will hold those that need to be held accountable, and we will change that which happened to us because the fraud cannot continue to just be perpetrated.
Yeah. I'll tell you, I just want to add on to that, that one of the things, one of the reasons I think it's so exciting for people, not just to come on as guests on other people's channel, but to have their own channels, is that finally, I think we're at a point where nobody needs someone else's permission in order to tell their story. Nobody needs someone else's approval. Nobody needs to be liked by anybody in order to tell their story without a gatekeeper or an editor or a producer or whatever the hell deciding which parts of those stories are going to make it out. Do you know what I mean? So like, I love being able to have people come on my channel to help promote their channels and help get other people to go subscribe to those channels so that those channels can be where those people can tell their own stories. It doesn't have to just, you know what I'm saying? Like, I want to use my channel to help other channels grow, not to be the mouthpiece for everyone. And that's why I'm so damn excited about how this has been rolling out, because I feel like the experiment's been working.
And thank you, Aaron, because you have taken the bull by the horns and you are, stepping into this position of leadership where you're just leading by example. And that's how it should be. Like, we're not here to follow anyone. We're not here to play games. We're not opening these channels for relevance or we just want to connect to a situation. We've been put in this position to do this. We shouldn't have to be doing this heavy lifting, but it is falling on us, and it's okay. It's fallen on all of us that have experienced this. And I'm not saying just Aaron, me, or us, like literally all people who have ever spoken out. It's fallen on you. And you know what? It wasn't on you. It shouldn't be that way. It is that way. We're accepting reality for what it is, but there's institutions that are supposed to be doing the heavy lifting, and they have been nowhere to be found in 73 years of all of the things that we have spoken about. So
it's true. We're sort of doing this. We've decided to stop waiting, stop hoping that mainstream media was going to start talking about this shit. And it's like, screw that. We are now the mainstream media when it comes to this. And actually, just since we're talking about YouTube in general, I almost to the day, this is exactly my 1-year anniversary of uploading something to YouTube every single day. And I'm mentioning this as an encouragement to everyone out there who's considering starting a channel or just recently started a channel. When I started this experiment 1 year ago, I already had 40,000 subscribers. However, my growth did not really begin until I started uploading every day. And in the last 12 months, I went from 40,000 subscribers to 130,000 subscribers. And I'm not doing anything special. I mean, I try to be funny and interesting and entertaining and whatever, but I'm talking about shit I want to talk about. And I just said, I'm just going to do it every day. And it's only, so in 1 year, it's only taken me really 1 year. The channel's existed for like 7 years, but you know, I wasn't really doing anything with it. So anyway, that's just a little encouragement to everybody. And yeah, there you go. Let's check out the next one here. Peggy Dooley. Question, Serge, are you willing to talk about any types of therapy that worked well for you after you blew or left Scientology? Or is that too personal?
No, absolutely, Peggy. Thank you for that question. That's an excellent question. And that's actually something that me and a couple of other creators that are coming onto the scene that you guys will soon meet have been planning to speak about, because, you know, the plight of our resilience has been about the come up, right? Like, yes, the abuse happened to us, the trauma happened to us, we were exploited and all of that, but we have been resilient and we have rebuilt ourselves piece by piece. And it hasn't been because we've been alone. It's been because we've been helped. It's because we've been mentored. It's because we've been given the right information. And there's just been so many people in our healing journey that have allowed us to come to the literal other side of the rainbow, the real rainbow. We're on the real rainbow, not like that documentary or L. Ron Hubbard, wherever the hell rainbow he was talking about. We have nothing to do with that rainbow, but we'll tell you today we're living in a rainbow of, you know, we are adults, we're responsible, we figured it out, we got our hair on our shoulders, and now it's just time to show up every day. Like Aaron was saying, it's very hard to do this. I'll tell you guys, like, we reached back to our support network talking about the therapy, and we are, you know, in a way, it's almost like in a AA program of sorts. We have sponsors, we have friends that we like literally rely on when we break down, because this happens like every I mean, as much as we come to this thing and we look put together, you know, there's a lot of stuff that's getting moved around. So, but just to answer your question, I know I go so long. But the therapies that work for me is like I've gone to just like regular therapists, talk therapy, and then I've done EMDR, which is special therapy that focuses on trauma, which I was petrified to do because I just felt like, isn't this going to be the same thing than auditing? Am I going to be lying to myself by saying that I don't feel the trauma anymore? Because that's, you know, for years I refused to do anything else. Like I didn't want to do that. It took me like 5 years to trust therapy, to be like, okay, I'm going to consent to this and try it. And it's been life-changing and it's been wonderful. And I feel so much better. And, you know, we have sources. So yeah, I love therapy and I'm a big proponent, and I'll love to speak more to that when the time comes, so that we can also inspire others to reach out for help, you know, because you all deserve it. Every single person deserves it.
Awesome. Gnome Sane says, does Serge have any pets that we can gush over?
So actually behind me, you guys will see is Healthy Paws Herbal Labs is the company that my husband and I started, and it's holistic Chinese medicine for pets. So we have all these organic holistic remedies to help your kitties and your doggies. And we are right now, we foster with working with different rescues. Right now we are not fostering the pet because our business is growing fast and we have to like move out of this apartment, and it's a lot of things. But you know, to make a long story short, we don't have a pet right now to show off, but you will see one soon. Trust me, we love pets.
So let me ask you this: the viewers are always asking where they can buy your art, but where can they find the products of
So
the company you
yes,
just mentioned?
guys. So I am working on a project, on an art project. I'm gonna keep you posted here on YouTube. We'll give you updates, but something's coming out, something that I'm very, very proud of, and I'm very excited to be able to show that I've been working on for the last 7 years. It's been a
No,
long
but
time
that's not what
for
I
art.
said. They're always asking where they can find your art, but where can
You
they actually?
can't. You
No, no,
can't
no,
yet.
no, no. Let me. But where can they find the products of the company you just mentioned?
For these guys,
Yes.
that art. Oh my God.
No. The doggy tree, the animal trees. Yes.
HealthyPawsHerbalLabs.com.
Oh, say it again. I missed it.
HealthyPawsHerbalLabs.com. I'll put it here
Healthy
in the comments so you guys can have
pause.
it too.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. There
Healthy Paws.
you go. Okay, so no pets. That was the long answer to no pets.
Oh my God. I need to really
No. I'm giving you a hard time. Okay, kilo of dope. Yikes. Okay. Aaron, have you heard of the Delphine School? It's a private Scientology school in Sheridan, Oregon. I live close, very pretty property. So it is the Delphian School, otherwise known as Delphi. I've never heard a Scientologist call it the Delphian School. They just call it Delphi. It's a very expensive private high school. Do you have to, is it only high school or do they have younger years than that? Do you know?
I think it's like sort of, I thought it was
Like a middle
first
school, maybe?
graders. I think it was like sort of first graders.
Yeah. So
Through high
many
school.
Scientology kids have gone to this school. My wife went to that school. It's weird because it's not a school that's only for Scientologists, but it was like one of the hottest recruiting grounds for Sea Org recruiters would go up there and camp out and recruit these rich Scientology kids to join the Sea Org. And the parents absolutely hated the fact that they were spending all this money to send their kids to this expensive private high school, and they're being, picked off one by one by young, good-looking Sea Org recruiters. So sometimes Delphi would ban Sea Org recruiters from coming onto the campus, and then that pendulum would swing back and forth and back and forth. But yeah, and there's a Delphi school here in Clearwater. There's a Delphi in Los Angeles. So the Delphi school is, would you say, probably the most in the world of Scientology, the most prestigious private school. I went to Delphi. You're like, okay. Us Sea Org members were like, okay, we don't care. But if the public Scientologists cared,
it was definitely Howard's.
Yeah. JR, do you know the story of Judy Cutler's son's death? I do not know who Judy Cutler is. Do you?
Oh.
Okay. Sorry. No dice on that one. Rue, what company makes the cans? In what country are they made? Who gets the proceeds? Do they ship to the ship via HDL? Are they talking about e-meter cans? They're not talking about.
So. That's what it sounds like to me.
Oh, I don't know. Sorry, Rue.
Yeah, we're not. We don't know that.
We did not work at Golden Era Productions. That would be a question for Mark Headley. Mm-hmm. Claire Headley might even know. Claire worked in Golden Era Productions before she went to RTC, but she didn't necessarily work in manufacturing. Mark Headley worked in manufacturing for a while. Sorry, Rue, I feel bad. I just literally have absolutely no idea. Now, as Scientology staff members and Sea Org members, we just whoever makes the cans, assuming it's not Golden Era Productions themselves at this point, because I would have just guessed that Golden Era made this stuff in-house. But what do I really know? I don't really know that. I mean, if someone had asked you, does Golden Era Productions make the e-meter cans, would you have said, yeah, of course? Or would you have suspected it might be outsourced?
They would just source everything and do everything in-house because they're so cheap, and they're really since they have slave labor, why not? That's kind of like the MO that I kind of pretty much always saw. They would always just sort of source it and then figure out how they could get slave labor to do it.
Yeah. The truth is nobody outside of Golden Era Productions or the Int Base would know the answer to this question. So that's why Mark Headley might be the best one for that one. Mm-hmm. Okay. Rick says, question for Aaron, I guess, Serge, equally a question for you. Have you or would you ever consider talking to anyone who took part in the anonymous protests between 2008 and 2010? Did either of you witness them? Where were you in 2008 to 2010? Were you already out of the Sea Org?
I was out of the Sea Org, but in Scientology, because I didn't leave Scientology until 2015. And I definitely witnessed them. I remember specifically, I was going to New York a lot during that time, and there were those people at the New York org, the anonymous. So I saw them there. But again, the demonstrations didn't really make me think there was something wrong.
It's
like,
true.
I just thought they were wrong.
I get so much shit every time I say that. And I go, and I go, I'm just speaking from my experience as a Scientology staff member or a Scientologist. I nor anyone I knew gave a damn about those protests. That's not an effort to throw shade. It's an effort to give the perspective.
So important. Yeah.
It's just trying to give perspective from the inside. Now, I heard someone say in a video last week something that I thought was actually really insightful, that the anonymous protests, not only in the past would have had whatever effect they would have had a much greater effect, and moving forward would have a much greater effect if the protests were done outside of companies that Scientologists use to generate tens of millions of dollars of donations to Scientology. I'm trying to think of an example. Like right now, what's one of the biggest? The power companies that are owned by Tom Cummins and Pat Clouden. Consumer Energy Solutions is one of them. There's some of these companies that sell, power in deregulated markets. You want to do an anonymous protest outside of one of those companies, shit's going to hit the fan. What's another company? ABC Mouse. You want to do a big anonymous protest outside of ABC Mouse with the Where's Shelley and, abuse of children and all that kind of stuff. That shit's going to have some consequences. People inside the Scientology organizations are sort of proofed up against that kind of stuff. They expect big pharma and big psych and big media to be fomenting hatred and causing people to misunderstand Scientology. And of course, you're protesting because of all of the, false propaganda you've been fed about Scientology. That's all.
And I would almost add to that too, Aaron, you have to pierce through that veil of deluded narcissism, right? Because the L. Ron Hubbard technology was just making you this special narcissist. And you've always felt that people couldn't get you because they don't know all of these things that you've read. So you always expected the pushback. I'm like, yeah, of course you think that, because you don't know all the things that I studied that make me know better than you. And that was what we were told over and over. So and I would say that going to the anonymous, it's like, I think they were very important. And I don't think that, maybe I saw it and it had an impact to be like, oh, they're questioning it, but I still didn't move, but there was a question mark in the street that I saw, that I witnessed, right? With plaques that, I remember now that you just said that, the plaques like about the RPF. And I was like, I was there as a child. But never mind that at that point I wasn't like, oh, but I should leave, or like, oh, they're protesting on my behalf. I'm like, well, you don't understand the RPF. Like, the RPF is to rehabilitate. The RPF is to do FPRD and to do. I could give you the whole Scientology pitch with my eyes closed. So how was I supposed to eradicate that Scientology pitch out of my mind? It started to erode it. Let's say it like that, because I feel like all public protest is so important. It's so important. Like, if we don't protest, they always win, because you know what? Like, what wins is like this complacency and this tolerance of all of these abuses going on. So no, I feel like, anonymous, thank you so much, because before that, nobody was doing anything. So it's taken every single warrior that's been fighting against this war of misinformation. And there's been just so many, but it's like, it's $1 billion dollar industry here that we're talking about. So we have to be realistic about what it's going to take in order to really turn the page. And
now part of this question was whether we have ever interviewed someone who took part in this protest or would. I most certainly would love to. In fact, I'm sort of guessing that Nasty Nathaniel must have been one of the people who participated in those. And I've interviewed Nate. Also, you know, AGP. I don't know if I can say those 3 words together on YouTube. Angry Pope. I don't know if I can say all 3 of those words together. I feel like in the past, YouTube has dinged me for, you know the 3 words I'm talking about, right? He wasn't he most certainly involved with the anonymous stuff, and I've interviewed him. I would also be interested in interviewing any former Scientologists who started their path out of Scientology based on those protests. That would be interesting, you know. So yeah, hit me up, growingupinscientology@gmail.com if you were part of the anonymous protests and want to talk about it, or any former members who that was the impetus. That's what lit the spark for them leaving. That would be interesting. Okay, let's figure out what this means, because I've been trying to figure it out and I'm not quite sure. Free Xenu Project says, question, I just watched that video Church of Scientology wanted to sue Aaron for. It struck me as to how much he made up, lied about.
Oh, I think I understood it.
It was so obvious. What do you two feel about watching that now that you are out? What is this referring to?
So the video you just made about L. Ron Hubbard's thing, where they were trying to strike your channel for showing.
Oh, the L. Ron Hubbard interview from Zimbabwe.
And he was obviously lying as.
Oh, yeah. How about I don't know. Sometimes it's the weirdest things in these L. Ron Hubbard videos that stick out to me. He's sitting there behind his desk having a normal, dignified interview like a gentleman. And then all of a sudden, he just stands up from his chair, walks over to the fireplace mantle and just leans on it like he's in a Marlboro commercial. And he sits there. He leans there for a little bit. And then he walks around to the front of his desk right in front of the interviewer and just sits on the desk with his legs a little bit open. And I'm like, this is the creepiest thing ever. And this is what they've been using since 1966 to educate people on what Scientology is about. I don't know. It's the weirdest things that stick out to me in those videos. Yeah. Okay. Next one. Destiny Salazar. Serge, you have empathy. That's why you can't leave all those people behind without advocacy. Thank you. It means so much to all of us. Well, there you go. There you go. Marilyn Honig, Coffee, Colts, and Crafts. Hello, Marilyn. Guys, when we do our Monday Night Lives on SPTV, well, on this channel, after each one of those Monday Night Live streams, they do an after party stream, and it's Marilyn, and it's Juliana Bittencourt, and it's Clearwater Chad, and it's Denver Stevo, and they do an after party, and it's hilarious because they're all drinking. And I'm gonna have to jump in. I might have to jump in on their after party stream this Monday. That would be a lot of fun. Okay, so Marilyn says, "Love you, Surge, and I love your name. A surge means sweeping forward like a wave and onward rush. The Surge. Oh my God, I love it." The Surge.
Remember, Del Mar is the sea, so the surge of the sea.
Oh my God. Oh my God. It's all coming together.
SPTV, guys, live. Breaking news.
The Surge. Oh no, Nora's in the chat. Preach it, Surge. This is about saying everything we couldn't say when we were there. Absolutely. Selena Michelle, grats on the channel growth. I love my SPTV and growing up in Scientology. Hit that like button. Yes, on both of our channels. Actually, we got about almost 1,000 people watching live right now. I'm not sure what the breakdown is on each channel, but if you're watching right now, please hit that like button. It's fast, it's free, it's easy, and it actually helps. Okay, Lethanda Grauklinga. Was it astounding to see this community of people working to end the horrible abuses? Under the radar Scientologists, ex-Scientologists, never ends, people from other controlling groups, so much empathy, compassion, and support in the SP TV network. I mean, you sort of commented on this earlier. It really is shocking how many people who have never been in Scientology resonate with the conversations that we have and this sort of collective healing process and just the collective effort to end the abuses of the Scientology organization, and how many people that resonates with who've never been in Scientology. because there are so many other experiences out there in the regular world, whether we're talking about other organizations, other cults, other high control religious groups, relationships. There are so many other experiences out there that have some sort of similar harmonic to what we all talk about on these channels. That is one of the things that's really resonated with me, is how something that's so, what might seem so niche. Is it niche or niche? I never know which way to say. Niche. Well, that's what you say. 10 other people will say something different in the chat. Something that would seem like it's so niche. Scientology is so small. I mean, it's so small compared to so many of these other groups and organizations.
Well,
and
but
yet, and we're talking
one thing though, Aaron, it's small, but yet they have Tom Cruise as the biggest star being a part of it, right? And it's like, it's got this pop culture capital that no one else has, which is the thing that we thought was made us cool because we were all in the same building as this man, which now in hindsight couldn't be more diametrically opposed, because we're like, oh, we were just being fooled thinking this was legit because he's in the building. And of course, this could not be legit because he's in the building. Obviously, he knows that. And here we are, right? And so I think a lot of, we've gotten all this press attention for 73 years, going back to the mainstream media, but yet here we are, the child that we were, how many, 25 years ago, 30 years ago, is still in those hotels right now. There's a new version of us being created. There's a new supervisor, there's a new auditor, there's a new ethics officer, there's a new, senior case supervisor, there's a new, all these post titles, all these role plays, going back to that fact that we were dressed in military uniforms and given a role to play inside this hotel. It was a full-time role, mind you, that, again, we go back to the pitch of Monique Yingling. This was a religious experience that we were having, because apparently Monique Yingling thinks putting minors in military uniforms locked up in hotels with adults is a very religious experience for that child. So we would love to hear from you, Monique Yingling, to send us a letter and explain to us today.
You want to talk about anonymous protests? Some anonymous protests outside the prestigious law firms that these lawyers who do Scientology's dirty work for them work for. Now that would be something that would make waves. And speaking of which, Destiny Salazar says, I think Anonymous did the best they could. The best they could do at the time. It was helpful for gaining exposure on the outside. That's certainly true. I mean, nothing like that had ever been done before. And it's easy to forget that. It's easy to,
you know what? It's all we can all do, right? Do the best we can. Nobody can do anything Superman. Like, this is not that type of situation. We're all just showing up, doing the best we can. And that is enough, right? Like, we don't have to do more. Nobody has to do more. We're all fighting the same thing. And there is no, like, you did it better than that. And It's like, that's what they did to us in that hotel. Everything was like status oriented, get a diploma. You're better. You're worse. You're this, you're that. You're worthless. We're not about that. We're here with a very specific guardrail as to what we need to dismantle. And the dismantling of that is not falling back into that trauma response of the dysfunction of what all these people are under the spell. We have to set the tone and change things and have the compassion and the empathy required to deal with this, horrific mental health crisis.
Yeah. Here's one that I just cannot skip. Folly Beach USA says, question, Aaron, would you please wish a speedy recovery for my friend Carol's husband who just had a triple bypass at the VA? Absolutely. I wish I knew the Carol's husband's name, but I absolutely wish Carol's husband's a very speedy recovery. I can't even imagine having to go through a procedure like that. But yeah, hope he gets better as fast as possible. Audrey Covet. I'm going with Covey on that one. Okay. Prince Muskie says, I saw Tom Cruise in Darling Harbor, Sydney on Tuesday for his Mission Impossible release. I yelled out to him, watch out, Tom. Xenu is behind you. He gave me a death stare from about 20 feet away for a good 30 seconds. Oh my God. Oh my God. I love it. Serge shared your interview with Aaron with the Clearwater police on Twitter. Okay. All right. Very interesting. I wonder, you know, the Clearwater police, and like I've actually seen the report. The city of Clearwater generates a report it's either every week or every month, because Scientology has a standing FOIA request. I guess FOIA is for the federal government, right? So the right to know law. Basically, you know, whatever local law allows you to request information from your local government. Scientology has a standing request. Either every week or every month, the city has to turn over to Scientology every public record that was generated in the city of Clearwater files regarding Scientology that uses the word Scientology, or Mike Rinder, or Aaron Smith Levin, or Leah Remini, or Mark Bunker. And part of that report includes every tweet about Scientology and Clearwater. So if you tweet something and tag the Clearwater police and it has the word Scientology in it, that report actually gets generated and given to Scientology every single week. So the Clearwater police are certainly aware of it. If you tag them, the city of Clearwater officials are certainly aware of it. And the fact is, Scientology is aware of it as well. So anyway,
in terms of the Clearwater police and in terms of protest, I mean, that's where you want to protest. I mean, these are the neighbors of this hotel. Like, never mind who's at the hotel. Don't protest there, because security will harass you no end, and they will call the Clearwater police to get you in trouble. But you know what? Just go straight to the Clearwater police. Go to the source of the problem, because we need to stop treating the enablers of the problem as the victims. The Clearwater police is not a victim. The Clearwater police has a lot of explaining to do for itself, because in 50 years, they're going to sit here with a straight face and tell us they have seen nothing. So yeah, those are the facts that we need to confront. So I agree with you about the Clearwater police. Put them on Twitter, put them on blast, because you know what? We need answers. We need to figure out what the hell's going on for real.
Yeah. Speaking of hotels, Reverse YouTube asks, how did you get to think of that cult as hotels and hotel rooms? You've certainly adjusted my thought process and created a new way of looking at it.
Well, you know what? L. Ron Hubbard says, look, don't listen, right? So when you're doing an investigation, you're supposed to just look. Don't listen to the yapping. Don't listen to, oh, this is that. You're supposed to go and see what's here. Oh, a hotel. Oh, a reception. Oh, a bellboy. Oh, someone with luggage. Oh, they're getting a room. Oh, they're getting a key. Oh, they're checking in. Oh, they're checking out. Like, it is a hotel. It's not just like, oh, let's try to be funny about anything, right? Like, I'm not saying that that's what you think, but it's a literal hotel. So as much as everyone plays dumb around that fact, as much as Monique Yingling has put her law license to purport that this is not a hotel, but you know what? It's like, these lawyers, going back to them being the problem, is like they cannot submit paperwork with lies. So there's a lot of contrary facts, things that are contrary. You say it's a church, but you're actually running a hotel. So which one are you running? A church or a hotel? A church or a hotel? Like, what church gives rooms to their parishioners? Like, there is not a single business model that operates like that other than a literal hotel, which is the Sandcastle Hotel, the Yachtsman Hotel, the Student Motels, the Fort Harrison Hotel, the Manor Hotel. Literally, it's like all these hotels and commercial buildings.
Yeah, totally. John Sistovsky, do you have recurring dreams about Scientology?
You know, it's part of complex PTSD, you know, and we experience it. And, you know, coming here has always kind of opens up that door and that vibe, you know, but you know, going back to, we are in a good place today. We're safe. We're very secure. We're very resourceful. We're very powerful. We have a ton of attorneys on speed dial. We have all the law enforcement agencies that we need to be in touch with today on speed dial. We have sources that are protecting us. Like, we're not kidding around. Like, we've had to do what we've had to do. So now we put that oxygen mask on, and now it's time to come here and then use that oxygen and put it to good use.
Yeah. Reminder to anyone who have joined us recently. Let me get my little thing ready. You can subscribe to Surge on YouTube at Surge Del Mar is the name of the channel, and the handle is at Surge Del Mar. Can't miss it. Okay, so Free Xenu Project says, went to see the Indiana Jones movie last weekend. One of the trailers before the movie was the new Tom Cruise movie. I booed low, and to my surprise, everyone in the theater started booing loudly until it ended. That's really funny. That's great. Tom Cruise, it's I have said on this channel many times that Scientology has ruined Tom Cruise. And that's not to paint him as a victim, because I think Tom Cruise has crossed the line from abused to abuser. I mean, if you could even describe him as abused, what's your thought on that? What Tom Cruise's role? Because in some respects, somebody could be like, well, Scientology victimizes all of its members. And you go, what about Tom Cruise?
I mean, look, Aaron, two things can be true at once, right? So he can be getting abused and gaslit himself, seduce and entice into committing criminal things. I mean, we've seen this with the Lori Vallow Daybell, the one that the cult mom that murdered two of her children and buried them because of some crazy Mormon extremist man that sold her on her children being diabolical. And the struggle is real. Is that woman abused, or was she an abuser? I mean, she was both, right? Like, and I'm sure that if we go to a federal prison and we go interview every felon, they're all going to have an abuse story, because as humans, we influence each other, right? And that's the problem with this hotel. Like, once they enter that threshold, they're getting influenced, they're getting seduced, everything gets normalized. Nothing raises a red flag anymore because everyone's so groomed. I mean, literally, you have to qualify, guys, to enter the hotel. There's a qualification process. What kind of hotel asks that you have to qualify to stay in a room? I mean, even if you have people that are not Scientologists, they shouldn't stay at the Fort Harrison, but we have this other one over here that they could stay at that's like 3 miles away and where there's no audits going on. So that one is okay for your non-Scientologist family to stay. So it's all of those facts that are not adding up whatsoever to all of these attorneys that seem to be thinking that everything adds up in there.
Yeah, absolutely. David Parsons, please say a prayer for me too. Heart surgery on July 20th. I always struggle with what to say in circumstances like this, because I'm not a religious person. It'd be easy to say thoughts and prayers. We keep you in our prayers. That's a very nice thing to say, but I don't pray. What words do you use to give people?
I like the idea of holding space, right? Because that's what we're here to do. We're here to hold space for you, hold space for your struggle, empathize with you, understand you, have compassion. And that's something that as humans, we can all hold for each other. And we don't have to call it anything else other than us being here, holding that space for you and giving you dignity. And I think that's what everyone is wanting to get, out of life, like some dignity. That's all you need.
Yeah. So keeping you in our thoughts, wishing you all the best, and holding space. What is holding space? What's the context that word gets used? Holding, does that mean like this is a safe space, you can come to me whenever you need? Is that what that means?
Yeah, and I mean, someone's reaching out and you're listening to them, right? You're giving them your ear, you're allowing them to discuss whatever it is that's troubling them, which is, and you really have to do nothing. Just sit there and listen.
Cool. Basking in It says, I'm a never in, and I'm horrified with the stories I hear from all of you. The Church of Scientology must be taken down, or the cult of Scientology must be taken down. Keep up the fabulous work. We are all with you. Awesome. Thank you, Basking in It. Kat, AC/DC fan, frequent flyer of the SPTV channels. Serge, you have added such a rawness. I thought I had an idea on how bad the cult is, and then you came along and bam, SPTV seems to be spicing up. It does, doesn't it?
Well, I think it's really a matter of diversity, Aaron, because like what you said about, encouraging other people to come up and join the conversation. This is not every one of us experienced it and saw it firsthand. And, no one's more important than anyone else. And, we hope to be able to come here and carry the message for those that are still too weak to come here. Because like we said, you got to put an oxygen mask on first. You can't just go at this because you'll act, the trauma is real. Like your mind will play tricks on you because all of that stuff it was systemic and it was disgusting. So, when you feel ready and when that's the thing for you to do, and you feel that in your intuition, in your heart, not because someone is shaming you into coming up and talking, but the message is diversity. The message is the more the merrier, and everybody's trauma and pain needs to be validated, and it's valid, and that's it.
Yeah. And the other thing is, like, I know that if I put myself in the shoes of someone who's still in the Scientology bubble, and I stumble onto a YouTube video and it's someone I know, and not just know at a distance, someone like I knew personally. We have shared Scientology experiences, even to the point where the stuff they're talking about in their videos, like, they're talking about things that even included you. When I put myself in the shoes of someone like that, I think that type of content resonates more with the receiver. And that's why I think it's better for there to be 20, 40, 50, 200 different faces telling their own experiences, their own stories from their place and their time, because that's how you get more of a domino effect of people going, oh shit, that person's speaking out, and I know that person. I know I'm like that person, and they're speaking out, and Scientology's not succeeding in destroying their life, even though they're speaking out. Maybe that means I could do something like that. You know what I mean? The diversity is so important, I think, when we're talking about something like this.
100%. And the more people they see that publicly will hold space for them, right, and not judge them as they're coming off this drug of L. Ron Hubbard that was forced fed on them, because that's the insidiousness of L. Ron Hubbard, right? Like, as much as the end user of the drug, we can all shame them and say they're horrible and stupid and all these things, but it's like the drug is the thing that's causing the deranged behavior. So why don't we just focus on the drugs and not on the shame that actually keeps everyone paralyzed? Because nobody wants to wake up to the facts, and we more than anybody understand that firsthand. Like, it took us so much to wake up to the facts. Like, it's taken us 10 years to even be able to be here. So we have to be realistic about what the come up has been, and how hard it has been, and how much you have to reconcile, and how much has to be straightened out in your own universe before you start understanding the truth for what it is. Like, stuck at a hotel for 11 years of my formative years. That's a simple fact that I don't have to have a whole narrative about. And then the RTC rep, and then the COB, and then the blah, 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 FSO, DFT, blah, all of that stuff falls away, because it doesn't even matter. Like, the fact is, I was locked up for 11 years with my passport in that hotel that I couldn't move, where every single one of my calls was listened to, where my parents were A-okay with everything that went there, because you know what, we already signed consent and bye-bye. So how is a child that's in there right now going to be advocated for when the parents are in on it, when the people at the hotel are in on it, where everyone's getting something out of it? But you know what, who doesn't get nothing out of it? Us, the kids that were in there. Like, we know that firsthand now, and that's why it's time to sort of like reverse the narrative on that, and then let everyone else come out of the hotel that's on fire. Like, this hotel is from hell, and it is on fire. So we got to get the children out of there first, because they don't know any better, and they don't have, even those adults, like, they play with the fire and they're saying, oh yeah, burn yourself, like, you're gonna love it. I mean, it's really that ridiculous. So yeah, that's I think what drives us right now.
All right, Paris Cashin, thank you for the super sticker. Pat O, would all of us calling child abuse hotlines help?
I mean,
Maybe.
you have to have the name of the child that you're trying to report the abuse on, I would think. I don't know.
And the abuse in this case, really, for being perfectly blunt here, can't just be they're a Scientologist, or they're getting auditing, or they're on course. Like, it would have to be like actual physical, or just participating in what the government considers a religion is not going to pass muster at an abuse hotline.
And that's why we have to actually call out this for what it is, which is state-sanctioned child abuse. Yeah. The state is sanctioning this abuse. Everything that happened to us apparently was just A-okay, and nothing raises a red flag. You deserved it. Your parent consented. You got locked up. Who cares? Your rights didn't matter. You were in a religious thing. We have no opinion. So we're now starting to, I think, push back on that false narrative that everything goes there. But again, going back to, we have to explain this very simple so that people can play dumb. So it's a combination of those two things. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Vanessa LaRose from Degraded Daughters of Dianetics says, holding space for me means doing more than being there comfortably, really listening and just being there for them, no matter how they feel, without judgment. I love it when the emoji gets translated into actual text. Not an acknowledgement, judgment, just witness. There you go. Yeah. So being there comfortably is famous words used to describe how an auditor is supposed to be in a Scientology auditing session.
CR0.
Being there comfortably and confronting. Okay, let me see here. We have Beachy Terra. Glad to hear Scientology will know everyday citizens, never-ends like me, are calling their crap out, stealing my tax dollars to abuse kids. Bring it, OSA, and wake up, Clearwater Police. Enough is enough. Absolutely. Let me see. There's some other ones I wanted to pull up here. We answered that one. We answered that one. I want to find a good one because we're getting close to the end here. We did that one. I don't know. Let's tackle this one. Can you speak about the practical and legal ramifications of becoming a public figure via YouTube? You've inspired me to start a channel for professional purposes, but wary of losing anonymity. So practical ramifications. I mean, so practical ramifications, losing anonymity. I only get recognized at the grocery store. That's because that's the only place I go. I don't feel like I've had any ramifications, but you know what? I mean, both of us were already involved with the Scientology and the Aftermath television show. That I can't remember if I even had my channel active at that point. I think I already did, but it wasn't anything that would have caused me to lose my anonymity. Right. After the television show, people in Clearwater, at least, had a, greater than zero chance of knowing who I was. I didn't feel, I'm doing a poor job answering this question. I don't feel like it has had any negative impacts. I don't feel even losing anonymity has been detrimental to me. The legal ramifications, there really haven't been any legal ramifications. And in fact, I feel that having a big platform is a huge, almost a security blanket. It's very hard for someone to misrepresent who you are when you're spending so many hours representing yourself publicly. And also, it's hard for Scientology to mess with you when every time they do, you can just tell the entire world about it. I think there is safety in numbers. And numbers in this case doesn't just mean 100 different channels. It also means having hundreds of thousands of people who watch your videos. So at least I think in the battle that we're fighting, I think the bigger the platform, the bigger the audience, the safer you are. I mean, that's how I feel. Do you feel any differently?
No, I think you're right, Aaron. And, again, like the fact that we are coming together and we are helping each other and we're connecting each other to, the best attorneys, the best law enforcement contacts, like we're all, if people want to be doing campaigns on us and all of that, like we're prepared. Like, it's like our attorneys would love nothing more than more things to document and go after these people. So it's better than they start wasting those taxpayer dollars that you were just mentioning for, going after kids that they were abusing. I mean, they were abusing us as kids, and now we have to worry about being abused as adults. Well, luckily as adults, we have a way to defend ourselves now. We're not kids anymore, and we're not kidding around. So I think that the platform, like you said, Aaron, it's like, yeah, we have to be public. Like for me, it's uncomfortable. I'm an introvert. I don't like this, but I have the passion for what is required. So it's a growth. I'm going through growth pains right now because I don't, it's rough. I mean, the struggle is real. That's all I'll say.
Yeah. And the big platforms, collectively are, it really does give us a lot of ammunition. Like when Scientology sends creeps and PIs to go harass, Vanessa, degraded daughters of Dianetics, we can expose that on this channel and all the channels simultaneously. You know, when someone catches PIs staking out their house, like I caught, you know, there was many PIs who'd been surveilling my home for months and months. You know, it took me a long time until I could finally catch them on camera. But once I did, well, they stopped showing up because they knew that was going to happen every opportunity I could get.
Well, yeah, and a message and shout out to all those PIs that don't do a shred of due diligence to do your PI work. Then you can now start finding our YouTube. So you listen to our story so that you would, when you're being given the $5,000 to come harass us, you really think about what the hell you're getting involved in. Do you really want to be co-opted into being a child victim abuser? Because you know what, you've been notified now by SPTV. Like, you know, this idea of willful ignorance is over. If you're working for these people and you're accepting paychecks, know that you're getting blood money on the backs of children that Monique Yingling is pitching as religious volunteers with their passports locked up. So do your research as private investigators and start investigating something. You know, maybe go work for people that actually want to end this like systemic child abuse and not work for the people that want to continue it.
Yeah. I'm actually getting really excited at the idea of Anonymous relaunching their protests and doing it outside of like Greta Van Susteren's office, Greta's husband's Jim Cole's office, Monique Yingling's part, you know, whatever firm she's a partner in, Vicky Podboreski. Oh my God, if Anonymous would go organize a protest outside of Vicky Podboreski's law firm, whatever firm she's a partner in, that would, I would live stream it. I would show up to those things and live stream it. I mean, the media would cover it. It would be incredible. But who knows?
It's our right. You know, it's our right. Like what we were told in Scientology, we had no First Amendment. We couldn't speak. We were controlled. Don't say this, don't say that. Shut up here, shut up there. And it is our right to protest. It is our right to speak, to say no. Yeah. So we're saying it.
Okay, a few more here and we'll wrap up. Did LRH, Andrew, did LRH hate the dentistry industry as well? Those teeth were, yikes, love the channel. I've always heard stories about this. What have you heard? I've heard that he was afraid of being put under anesthesia at the dentist or something, but I don't know if that's true.
No, he's just a full-blown degenerate. You can look at him, and if you come up with another name for him, I would love to hear, because I see a full-blown degenerate every time I see that man.
Yeah. Destiny, Denise Locker, Serge and Aaron, love you both. We're holding a place for you. Well, that's very nice. Thank you. Rue, is it illegal to hold a child's passport if not being held by the parent? Oh yeah, especially since there were no parents in this case. The organization, it wasn't even Serge's legal guardian who was holding the passport. It was the organization itself that would hold all the passports and keep them under lock and key in basically the human resources office, specifically so that people could not leave if they wanted to. No one was under any illusions or misrepresentations as to why those were being held. It was because they had to be able to control whether you could leave or not, and you can't leave without your passport. And yet some people would leave anyway. Some people would blow anyway without their passport, and either go to the police or go to the FBI or go to the embassy or whatever. Even Don Jason escaped from the Freewinds without his passport. Did you know that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Incredible. Guys, we're going to wrap it up here. It's been just about exactly an hour. Subscribe to Serge at Serge Del Mar or at Serge Del Mar, and tell everyone one more time, because I want to hear it, the website where they can find your guys' pet treats.
Healthy Paws Herbal Labs.
Awesome.
So, yes.
Very cool. All right, let me get my little clicky things in order here. Guys, at the top of the hour, in 40 minutes from now, I'm going to be starting a live Q&A with Mitch Brisker. So if you want to join us for that, please do. We're going to have a lot of fun, hopefully. Thank you, everyone, for watching.
Thank you. Have a great Friday and weekend, guys.
We'll talk to you soon.
Okay,
Bye.
if you want to see my rock and roll songs, click right on this guitar. And if you want to see a different one of my videos, then you could click right inside here. If you have subscribed or not, subscribe right